One part of the study guide has descriptions of the properties of individual horizons. In this case, we're talking about surface horizons, or epipedons. And so we have the texture, we have the structure, we have the color, and then we have some additional information that we may need for this. One of those is the soil organic carbon. You saw the cross there. You always look for footnotes to figure out what that is about. And then the base saturation may become important to us, and we see, how do we know that's what we're looking at? Well, again, we look for the footnote symbol, and we look to find what is that. So we have these definitions. We've got then a description of physical and chemical properties of an individual surface horizon. We then switch to use the dichotomous key that's available for us. And so we look here, and we have a surface or epipedon key. And it's a dichotomous key, meaning it's a series of yes or no questions. So we're going to look at the properties of the soil, of that horizon, and we're going to use that, apply this series of questions we have over here. Dichotomous key works. You have a rhombus, that's a question, and then you have a series. You either go one direction or other depending on your answer. Yes, it is, or no, it's not. Once you reach one of the boxes, the rectangles, you're done. You don't have to ask any more questions. You don't have to follow anything else. But you have to reach one of those before you can be done. So let's begin then with our process here. In our first horizon, the question is it organic? Well, what's organic? There again, we have a footnote. Let's go down and see what organic is. This box tells us what organic is. We're looking for something that has more than 12% soil organic carbon. We may have sphagnum materials. It's saturated, reduction. Let's go over here and see. Oh, here we have soil organic carbon, and we only have 0.5%. Well, 0.5% is much less than 12. So the answer to that first question is no. It is not an organic soil, so it's a mineral soil. The next question asks, does it have structure? Now, structure gives us causes us to ask another series of questions. So we have this question, does it have structure? We need to remember what that means. So we have to look at this column. And in this case, we're looking just for one soil, this first horizon. Does it have structure? We've got the abbreviations in the column, and so we need to remember what the abbreviations represent and which of these represent structure and which of these may not represent structure. So we look at our abbreviations, our help sheet that will be provided to us and that you have available to you. Depending on when these were written, historically, they were written first with these word or letters as abbreviations: SL for structuralist, WK for weak, mod for moderate, and ST for strong, and sometimes it was MD for moderate. But they've gone to using numbers, 0, 1, 2, and 3, where 0 is structuralist, 1, 2, and 3 are soils with different grades of structure for weak, moderate, or strong. Now, in order to decide if it's got structure, we need to know anything that is not structureless has structure. So there's only two soils, or two types of things that we encounter that are structuralist soils. And those are single grain and massive. So anything else in this list, any of these others, are structural units. And so when we ask that question, does it have structure, we're asking, does it fall in this group up here? Now, it doesn't matter if it's weak, moderate, or strong. It can be any of those three, but is it granular, angular blocky, subangular blocky, columnar, platy, prismatic, or wedge? If it's any of those things, it has structure. And so when we ask that question, does this soil have structure? We have to answer yes, it does, because in this case it's subangular blocky. So it has structure. The next question we ask is about color. Are the chroma and the value both 3 or less? Well, now we have to remember about color. What we get is the hue as the first part, and then the value, and then the chroma. And so our first thing here with the letters, like so 7.5 YR, that is our hue, our value is 3, and our chroma is 3. So we ask the question, are both the chroma and the value, so that's these two numbers, are both of those numbers 3 or less? Well, they're both 3, so yes, they meet that one. Yes. We go to the next question. Is that horizon thicker than 25 centimeters? Well, now we're looking at our depth. What is the depth or the thickness of that horizon? It's 20 centimeters. This is asking, is it greater than or equal to 25? So our answer is no, it's not. Now that leads us to a box, to a rectangle. And this rectangle says ochric. And so that's what we put in that blank. It's an ochric horizon. So our epipedon, our surface horizon, is ochric. Let's erase these things and go to the next set. Oh, I didn't mean to erase everything, so let's come in here. We have ochric in this one. Now, dichotomous key, we run through the same series of questions for the next one. So the first question, is it organic? We look over here, what is our organic carbon content? It's only 2.3%, so the answer is no. It's a mineral soil then. Does it have structure? It's got granular structure. So, yes, it has structure. It's not structureless, not single grain or massive. So it's got structure. Yes. Are both the color and the value 3 or less? Well, 2 is less than 3 and 0 is less than 3. So the answer is yes. What about the depth? Is it more than 25 centimeters? Well, the depth is 54 centimeters. So yes, it is greater than 25. What's the next question? Does it have more than 0.6% soil organic carbon? Where was soil organic carbon? Oh, here we go. Soil organic carbon is 2.3%. That's more than 0.6, so yes is the answer to that question. The next one is the basic cation saturation percentage, and that's also known as the BS. Is the BS, the basic cation saturation percentage, greater than 50? And it says here our basic cation saturation percentage, our base saturation, is 60. So the answer to that is yes. That finally leads us to a box. And in this case, our box is the mollisol. Or molic horizon. Sorry about that. Is a molic horizon. Let's continue then. We'll reset what we've got here. So our next series of questions. Is it organic? Well, 2 is not organic, so no, it's a mineral soil. Does it have structure? Again, we're asking, is it weak, moderate, or strong? 1, 2, or 3 of angular blocky, subangular blocky, granular, prismatic, columnar, platy, all of those things. So we look at this one. It says 0 and MA. If you'll remember, 0 is structureless, and Ma is massive. So in this case, we have a soil that is structureless, massive. Well, when we come to that, and we have that question, does it have structure? The answer in this case is no, because it's a structureless soil. That takes us to a box, and we now have an answer, ochric. Erase some things here for us. Hit the next one. But it's a dichotomous key, so at each point we ask a series of questions. And based on the answers to that question, we go one direction or another, and we're always going toward one of those boxes. And when we find a box, we're done. We don't have to ask any of the other questions. We're at the box, we've got an answer, we're done. So let's do 2 more of these, and then we'll do the next part of that. The key is posted for the rest of them. So as you work through the process, you can see that you've gotten it right. So as we look at this, the next one says that it is, first question, organic, yes or no? Organic carbon content, really low, 0.1. So no, we're dealing with a mineral soil. Does it have structure? Well, again, we have something that's 0, and remember 0 is structureless. What type? The other one was massive. This is single grain. So single grain is loose sand. So it doesn't have structure. So your answer is no. You come down, you've got another ochric horizon. Now again, let's do then one more here. So the process should be familiar to you now. You're asking questions in order. Is it organic? Where was organic carbon? 0.7. So the answer is no, it's not organic. We have a mineral soil. Does it have structure? Again, in this case, we're looking for something that has weak, moderate, or strong. That's 1, 2, or 3. Subangular, blocky, angular, blocky, granular, all those other options. And so it does have structure. So the answer is yes. Again, how do you know that? Well, you look at this at the key here that we had, and the only things that are structureless, are these single grain and massive. So if you've got single grain or massive conditions, you do not have structure. We call those structureless. And so when we're answering this question, does it have structure? That's what we're asking. So this one has structure. Yes. What about the colors? Both 3 or less? Well, yes. We've got value is 3, chroma is 3, so that's going to be both 3 or less. So yes. Now, next one we go, what about its depth? Is it at least 25 centimeters deep? It's 26, so the answer is yes. How about organic carbon? Is it 0.6% or more? Well, yes, it is. Now then, how about base cation saturation percent? Is it greater than 50%? It is. It's 100%. So again, that finally leads us to a box. We're in Moloch. We write Moloch in here, and we're done. We don't, in that case, we're out of questions, but even if we'd stopped earlier, anytime we entered a box with one of our questions, we're done with that one. So we finished this one to determine the epipedon. The next step will be to determine the order. We'll do that one in another video.